This is the AI-assisted organization hosted by myself, Piers and my co-host and co-founder of Implement AI, Dr. Aalok Shukla. Good morning, Aalok.
Morning, Piers. How are you? All good.
Some more sleep. You're beating me on your Aura Ring sleep score. God, it's absolutely a nightmare. So if you don't know our podcast, we've got two sections really. We do AI for business news. So there's lots of news about AI for consumer and the fun stuff, which is all great, but we focus on AI news for business and for leaders as well, whether you run a business or you own a business. And then we have a theme. So this week we've just launched a new white paper called How to Implement AI. So again, every couple of months, every probably 6 months, every quarter even, we kind of release a new white paper on that topic because things just change and we're learning a huge amount from engaging with our customers who tend to be SMEs, sort of 10 million to sort of 500 million of revenue. And we like to sort of share that with you in terms of our learnings and how we help you to implement AI. So let's get into the news. So Meta, so this is quite an interesting one. So you've seen this before, we've covered this before, but Meta have developed, it's called mobile LLM. It's a large language model. And this is a compact large language model designed to run on mobile devices. This is locally. So clearly the very powerful models, they're using very large hyperscale data centers with GPU clusters. Every time you use them, it's using a huge amount of compute and power. But in the future, what you really want is these things running locally. So powerful models running locally. And the models, though they're kind of smaller in terms of the parameters used to train them, they're becoming more and more capable and more sort of powerful. So this innovation focused on delivering sort of powerful AI capabilities. This has got a similar, not quite the same, abilities as larger models, but it requires much less compute, hence why it can run on a mobile device. So much more efficient, lower latency and lower power consumption as well, which is clearly quite important. And the idea is that you can now have sort of, and they're very quick as well because it's local. So you can have real-time, voice translation on your phone rather than use a separate app. And that could be, for your headphones or whatever device you're using, games of 4-factor. And basically this is a major step in integrating AI more seamlessly into mobile devices. And by mobile devices, Aalok, isn't it? Don't just think about mobile, think about, glasses now. We talked about this quite a lot in terms of the form factor that's going to win out. It's probably going to be headphones, it's going to be glasses, and it may be your phone that powers it through a Bluetooth connection.
Your watch.
Yeah, your watch, your ring, it could be anything. So this is going to change things, and you're starting to see these models be rolled out, both by this is obviously it's going to be Google as well. We've got Meta, and I'm sure Apple are going to do the same.
100%. I mean, you remember like the whole IoT Internet of Things, and it was always about having, Wi-Fi connected toaster, kettle, fridge, and all those sorts of things, and the different appliances from there. Well, now it's going to be like intelligence of things, isn't it? Right. So you can have like, small local AI models within different areas, which can then add and make things a lot easier for you. So great step forward.
Yeah, good point, actually. I forgot about that. It'll be a toaster, it'll be a fridge, it'll be everything. We'll have one of these running locally on it, rather than you have the expense of using
like this meal does not meet your meal plan. Do you want to proceed? Yes or no, basically.
Yeah, that'll be most of my meals. Moving on. This is an interesting one as well. So we had the news earlier in the year of, it's always quite interesting how they sort of play this and they PR it. You had the news of Klarna that they weren't going to recruit 700 people, as opposed to laying 700 people off because they're going to use artificial intelligence for customer support. And this is an interesting one. This is Intuit. So Intuit is a QuickBooks, TurboTax, all those kind of SaaS platforms you may be aware of, you may use. And what they're saying is that they're actually going to lay off 1,800 employees, which is 10% of their workforce. It's quite a big number, and not so much to replace them with artificial intelligence, but they want to displace that resource and that expense. Doing day-to-day things. I'm sure they're going to be using artificial intelligence to automate some of those tasks. But what they're saying is they want to then rehire a similar amount of people. So it's not about cutting costs, but reallocate them to drive innovation and what they say customer-focused growth. And that's kind of an interesting strategy, which is something that we talk about quite a lot in terms of augmenting employees. So not necessarily replacing employees, but augmenting employees with this technology to make them more efficient and more productive. And in this case, they want to focus on innovation. So I'm sure in there, they're kind of dressing this up a little bit, is that they are going to be using generative AI to replace some of these roles and the tasks within these roles. And they're saying that they want to basically use these layoffs to refocus, to go after sort of big bets. Because clearly, as we always talk about, in this exponential world, you need to get ahead of the game, because if you're not, your people can catch up with you. And once you do get ahead of the game, it's going to be very hard for the competition to catch up. So they're expanding the AI-powered financial assistant. It's called Intuit Assist, like a financial sort of co-pilot. And they want to improve real-time customer expert interactions for investments in AI and also data capabilities. So I thought that was interesting. And we always say in our presentations, don't we, Alok, that you're going to see more and more of these stories. The cadence is going to increase over time.
It has to be. I mean, it makes complete sense, right? Because they've already got the distribution with thousands and thousands, if not millions of customers. But then the problem is that if they don't actually develop, intuitive, like literally intuitive and, intelligent solutions for their customers, then people will shift to other places that do it. Now, what's quite interesting here, like you said, is that they've got their kind of legacy infrastructure, which they had all these developers and people kind of maintaining, and now they want to kind of reallocate that into like new, a more innovative infrastructure and building different areas within the business. And that kind of makes sense, because they have to create their new, what we call AI operating system, or AI, value propositions. And you have to do that. I remember when Elon Musk took over Twitter, he cut loads of people in engineering, and it didn't change anything too much in certain regard, because you sometimes have like this almost like legacy amount of essentially the systems are maintaining the systems the way they were. But if you're trying to build for a future focused world, you need to do something different.
Yeah, I'm not sure you use Twitter. I'm having the jury's out on that one, but I take the point. So moving on. So this is an interesting one. So, again, it's tangential in terms of business, but so OpenAI has blocked its services in China. I guess this is pressure from the US government. So they've blocked export of certain sort of powerful chips in GPUs, like NVIDIA, for example. So the Chinese manufacturers are busy beavering away trying to copy them or do something that's equivalent. But they're now sort of, and this underscores this growing competition, and also the geopolitical nervousness about certain countries getting ahead in AI, or maybe even AGI, or even ASI in terms of artificial super intelligence. So this means the Chinese developers have got to find a way of getting around this by developing their own models. But I think the bigger issue here, though, the issue we want to highlight, though, is this the more general point, is in artificial intelligence, whether it's a nation state, or you're using a model from a particular country or particular geography, or using a particular model from a particular company, you want to be careful that you don't have this sort of concentration risk in some ways in terms of model. If you'd bet your farm on, I don't know, inflection, okay, and it just disappears, then that might have worked out too well for you. Now you've got things OpenAI, you've got Google, the Gemini sort of family, you've got Amazon, Anthropic. So they're probably going to be around for quite some time. Probably going to be quite hard for them to sort of be bought out and merged because of the competition issues. But just be careful that when you're building artificial intelligence-based systems, that you have some diversity really in terms of what technology you're using to reduce your operating risk.
No, I agree.
On that, Aalok?
No, I agree.
Moving on, so the AI Act, this is the EU AI Act, is very near to becoming law. So this is the landmark act, and we've talked about this in the past in terms of different levels of artificial intelligence, and based on level, there's different ways in which it's going to be regulated and sort of governed and managed. So they've now published in the official journal, so it's kickstart this countdown now to becoming legal. Now, obviously, we're not in the EU anymore, in the UK, if you're from the UK, but this no doubt is going to impact you if you're selling into the UK or providing services into the EU, and I guess that the UK regulation post-election now, we see more movement on that, will be similar, I assume. It'll follow this kind of track. So it's something to keep your eye on. So if you're developing, you need to understand the codes of practice, make sure you're developing solutions that are in line with these EU standards. And we've got probably 9 months to do that. And you've got, I think, 24 months if it's a higher risk, more complex AI system. Moving on, Anthropic. So this is an interesting one as well. So Anthropic is probably, if you haven't used it yet, one of the best models. I tend to be my go-to model, especially for documents, is Anthropic. This is Claude 3.5 Sonnet. But Anthropic have now developed a new feature in their developer console. And this allows you to sort of generate, test, and evaluate prompts. So a prompt, you probably all use prompts, maybe in ChatGPT or even Claude or Google Gemini, whatever you use. And that's your interface with it. That's the way you communicate with the model. So you provide lots of context. The model's got its training, and you provide a prompt. And the accuracy and the sort of beauty within your prompt is what actually dictates the output. So your input is very much linked to the output, like as any system that uses this kind of technology. So by having better prompts, what you're getting essentially is better output, which means it's more efficient, it's more productive, it's more accurate, and you're getting the answer you want as opposed to a half-baked version and you need to keep iterating. So this means you're going to get more efficient use of these AI applications. In this case, it's going to be Claude, and it means that the people that are using these platforms can use this service within Anthropic and Claude to improve their prompts rather than always needing a huge amount of training. Now, I haven't used this yet. Aalok, have you?
No, I've not used the new console, but I've seen different demos of it, and it looks really good. And I have to say, I really, really like Claude. I use it a lot.
Yeah, so I think prompts, it's an interesting one because you've got the human wants to achieve something, you've got the technology, and the prompt in some ways, as well as the context you provide, is the key mode of communication. So how we engineer out prompts essentially will be interesting to watch. I think this is the first step in that direction. Okay, moving on, because we've got quite a big theme this week, so we're rattling through this. There wasn't a huge amount of AI news this week we wanted to cover, but OpenAI, now we have a system where we liken, and it's not just us, other people do this, we liken the development of building what we call an AI-assisted organization to autonomous cars. So you're not going to go from, driving a car stick or with gears and you've got a steering wheel, which you have to clearly hold, to being asleep in the back with no steering wheel. That's not going to happen in one step, one fell swoop. It's going to be stages over time. Now, OpenAI have introduced a 5-level system. It's kind of similar in a way, and this helps us understand the various stages of AI development. So they've got 5 levels. So it's going from automation, so basic tasks being automated without any cognitive abilities. Really, it's kind of one step up from logic, really, and robotic process automation. Then you've got assistants. So this is kind of your co-pilots. Your AI is providing support in decision making, but it's got kind of limited understanding, limited context. And we're kind of doing that already in many ways. You've got augmentation, so it's enhancing human capabilities with more advanced support agents, and it's got insights now, so it's seeing more intelligence. And I say we're kind of there now in some ways, depending on what you're using the model for, what kind of model you're using. And then you move into autonomy, where systems can make decisions themselves, are independent within certain parameters, within certain sort of 4 corners of a box. And some AI agents, we have agents that can be autonomous, but they've got quite a limited, for example, data analysis, for example, they can kind of run themselves and do what they need to do over time. And then eventually, this is the one that makes people a bit nervous, is agency. So this is where you have advanced AI, it's got near human or beyond human cognitive abilities, very capable of conducting complex tasks, and it can make decisions autonomously on itself and operate itself. So this is not AGI, this is not recursively learning, it's not ASI, super intelligence, this is just AI, the tool we're kind of using today, but how it advances over time. And there's some other news we're not going to cover today about OpenAI, is where you had this thing about Q some time ago, where they think now there's more talk about that developing, which is people think that's a step towards AGI. So I don't know, I mean, this is not really massive news to us because we've used that kind of autonomous car analogy, but it's interesting seeing that OpenAI have sort of set out the stages that they see how they're going to move from where we are today towards AGI.
No, I get it. And I think they themselves say they're kind of almost approaching level 2, closely, within that whole system. So it also gives an idea of where they're going to be looking at with their approaches to the general model. The beauty of the system is here. They've built such powerful foundational model that when you apply it to more narrow use cases, you can totally go up those scales of 3, 4, get real much further.
So where do you think we are then? Automation assistance, augmentation is 3.
They said themselves right now that it's I think around level 2, okay, as a general model. However, we've got tools, and we've seen tools which can do level 3 or level 4 basically in specific areas, and that's the whole point here, right? Over time, everybody's going to kind of get access at some point to systems which will be able to do more and more, out of the box essentially. But the thing is, businesses are so complex, they have so many inputs and outputs, you need to kind of configure them yourselves, which is what we're going to be talking about in the kind of second part of it. But I think here it's quite exciting to see their plans for it, and you can also almost predict when they release their next model, it's going to be a jump. Like that's the reason they're not responding to Anthropic.
Yes, I guess you're right. So the way I look at it is probably it's like the tip of the spear, isn't it? You're kind of moving down, and then eventually it kind of opens up. So as you move down from sort of assistance, augmentation, autonomy agency, there'll be very, very specific use cases and tasks you're gonna let it do. But over time, that'll widen, so it becomes more sort of generic. Okay, so that was all the news this week. We thought was relevant to if you're in business, you're a business leader, you run a business, you own a business. I think that's what you need to know this week. You can go and play with lots of other fun things in AI, but I think that's the AI for news, AI for business news this week. So again, if you're new to our podcast, then we probably don't need to say this to you, but follow us, like us, subscribe, all that good stuff. But also, we're going to talk about our white paper now. So if you go to, I'll just put it up there now. If you go to our website, there's a link here. We've got a resource center. And in there, there's white papers, there's demos, and we're kind of growing that over time. We're going to launch a couple of all white papers over the next month or so as well. So go and have a look at that. And AI training, really, really important. We have an AI training academy. This is the first step in AI. So we talked about prompt engineering earlier. So understanding the capability of this technology, how to do prompt engineering, how to use it for content. We have a pack of 3 courses in there, the key courses that people seem to want. But that's really important. It's the first step, because if you don't understand that and you don't understand the power of the technology, what you can do, how are you supposed to opportunity spot in terms of what you can automate? And what we do implement AI is what we call intelligent AI automation. So typically we provide fully managed AI agents in your business, working with your colleagues, your human resource, whatever we want to call them, to become more productive, more efficient, to automate the mundane, and in some cases do things that humans just can't do. For example, like analyze phone calls, or even make hundreds or thousands of outbound phone calls, or handle and triage thousands of inbound phone calls. So something we focus quite a lot on, and we're very good at, is AI voice, which we think is the way in which increasingly we're going to communicate with technology. So it's something you should embrace sooner rather than later. So we're going to rattle through our white paper now. So this is, again, as we said, every so often we update these, we write these, and this is really about implementing AI. And this is based on our insights. This is based on what we're discovering from working with clients. So if I just switch this on. So this is our white paper, and we're going to go through AI transformation, what we call our AI operating system, which I kind of touched on there a little bit in terms of Intuit, key benefits, data insights, AI agents, what they are, how you use them, and how we deploy them, and then organizational change, what that means, and then the implementation steps. Over to you, Aalok.
Yeah, so let's get started. So this guide is like very detailed, and it really will help any business leader or any entrepreneur understand their opportunities and also really see how they can kind of apply this. So let's start breaking it down. So AI transformation, what's the big idea here? The big idea here is that by applying AI within your organization, you can decouple revenue from linear fixed costs. So the whole point is normally when you're scaling, you get more and more team members, which will do more and more tasks. We're hearing in the news, just like from Intuit and different ones, increasingly you can add in AI agents and automation. So the big idea you want to gain here is that if you do not change anything, your costs are going to continue to increase and your revenue is going to be around where it is. But if you can apply AI, then what you can do that is you can actually make that work in the way that you want to. So that's that big idea there. And we're in this AI assistant.
Just not a lot. So I'm going to butt in. So that is important because it's not just about reducing costs. So when we started implementing AI, a lot of people said, "Oh, I could reduce cost, AI, human resource." But actually, it's extremely capable and powerful in terms of boosting, increasing, whatever you want to call it, revenue.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as I say, like AI is exceeding human capacity in all these different areas. So you want to kind of leverage that. So we're now in this AI assisted era. And we've seen how different jobs, different roles, different strategies for different companies are being evaluated. And so here we can actually see is that like we've got like a transformation framework. So if you're going to be like applying AI within your business, you want to think in terms of 2 levels of optimizing and innovating. And there's different levels to this, basically, right? Optimizing is all about increasing team productivity and automation. Innovate's all about introducing agents, experiences, and opportunities powered by AI. And so you can see here that the different levels that we've kind of got here. Do you want to put anything within here, Piers?
No, I think one thing we discovered is that a lot of organizations they want to focus on doing what they do best or better. So it's optimize. Innovation, innovation is a big part of this. We saw the news story for Intuit. They want to focus on innovation, but especially in smaller companies, often you've not actually innovated. And you might not have a budget, you might not have a team, you might not have project managers, you might not have someone technical enough to run those kind of projects. So that's why come to companies like us and implement AI to outsource it. But innovation is important, but often you can drive a huge amount of change just by optimizing, which is the bottom part of that pyramid.
Exactly. So the whole big idea here is that you want to embrace the shift and augment your team and augment your processes as well. And by augmenting your team and augmenting your processes, it leads you into what we call an AI operating system. So let's go to that next section, basically. So the AI operating system, the whole point here is that to leverage a new workforce, to leverage AI agents and automation to be able to do more different elements within your business, so you can decrease the costs, increase the speed, and increase capacity. We've got like a little map which kind of shows like how you can look at like the customer experience and the operations side. So either augmenting your team or augmenting the journey for the customer, for the customer experience can help you. And really, the AI operating system, in a nutshell, is 3 parts. Your augmented teams, they've got the knowledge, mindset, and skills, as well as tools that help them do their job better and give them insights from the AI. Then you've got intelligent automation, which is like managing, email inboxes, scanning for things, looking for exceptions, looking for issues, or processing things on a repeated basis. And AI agents, which are then, again, doing their jobs in a different way. So this is the whole point. Going from that graph at the beginning where you're trying to like increase revenue and decrease the cost, this is the idea of the AI operating system, essentially.
And go back to the page with the the tasks and the roles. I think that's quite an important one. Yeah, because this is quite important one to explain, is that AI, we'll say AI today is the worst ever going to be. Okay, AI now doesn't really do jobs unless you are I don't know, analyzing phone calls. It will do that job, or a lot of data analysis. It will do that job. But a lot of jobs have goals. They have lots of tasks that are broken down into. You'll see there at the bottom, the way AI is very good at is maybe doing the repetitive, the mundane. There may be 1 or 2 tasks that it can actually do very well, but there'll be other ones which are more higher value. They need a human input or human insight or human knowledge, experience, whatever it might be, or just face-to-face communication. The humans still do. And what that means is that they can focus on that and adding more value. And what the AI can do is pick up the stuff where it's not really meaningful work. It is repetitive. It is maybe mundane. Maybe it is admin. And maybe it's things that humans just can't do, because this thing, as Aalok was saying, in terms of the speed, the pace, the capacity, and the way in which this technology works, there's some things that humans just can't compete with already. So that's what AI agents actually do.
Exactly. And so like the whole idea of the AI operating system is that you can then leverage this as you grow, not just within your own business, but mergers and acquisitions, for example. So the whole point is, by having your system where you can then, combine AI assisted employees, intelligent automation, AI agents, it means that you can enhance efficiency, reduce costs, and increase your EBITDA. And then the whole point here is you can then, integrate and automate when you buy new targets, you can maximize the growth, and you can drive value creation. So this can start to lead to a whole new version of like, the platform roll up or the different businesses with M&A. And there's so many opportunities to, like consolidate, and we go into different details and giving different examples within there.
And just on M&A, if you missed it, our last podcast, we covered this in some detail, so that's worth listening to.
Exactly. And then again, you can apply the same principle of this AI operating system within any franchise as well, because the whole point there is you want all of your team members or all of your franchisees or or all of your sites to be following things in a particular way. And we show examples of like how different areas and different, from management to marketing, can kind of like improve things, so you can get different ideas and examples there and the strategic implications. So these are some of the key things. So now we understand the opportunity, we understand the AI operating system. What about creating an AI advantage? So let's talk about that basically, right? So we've got different ways that we can kind of do that, and it's all about creating some kind of either innovative customer experience, unique value proposition, or a whole new market opportunity.
So just on that a lot then. So you going back to that pyramid, so you've got your optimize at the bottom and innovate at the top, right? A lot of the optimize is going to be things that almost anyone, if they spoke to us or through a Teamatic, can kind of access. Whereas innovate is where you're trying to use your technology in ways in which nobody else is, and the ways in which you want to run your business to create competitive advantage. And the thing about SaaS is I think a lot of SaaS will eventually go away, because you're going to be able to talk technology and build your own SaaS, because coding is going to be the English language. The thing about SaaS is they're trying to make you like a bell curve, operate in a way which is akin to their total addressable market or the largest addressable market. So it's like a bell curve. If you're an outlier or want to run your business in a funky way, then it doesn't really work for you. Whereas using this technology, it can automate your business to operate in the way in which you want it to operate. And that's where the innovation comes from. Otherwise, if everyone did the same thing and they're all using the same platform, productivity suites, it's like spell check. Everybody's got it, and you need to rise above that.
Exactly. Like I said, like all kind of general purpose tools like, ChatGPT and things like that are based here. Some people learn some prompts, they can go here, go a little bit further than this, but you're not going to actually create, meaningful breakthroughs without having your own customized solutions. And that's where, for people who've not innovated before, how to think about different examples. And we give different ideas of like, you can use the AI to create estimation tools. So for example, an interior design company, it would help them provide a whole new visualization of like what their place could look like with realistic images in the space and help them order or purchase more. Or, the simulation experiences, or there's other ones with voice and vision. So the whole point here is that like you want to think about, how you can actually create some kind of unique advantage or unique solution for your customers, even like, AI-driven legal service subscriptions or whole new
and if you're listening to this, then you look at the YouTube videos where you can see, but we'll try and explain it as we go through. But we are flicking through some of the pages where there are some diagrams in the actual white paper.
So the next point is like data insights. So again, with AI, you can actually add that lens where you can see so many things and therefore act on more insights than your customers could do for, unlocking revenue opportunities, operational improvements, or developing new products or services for specific market segments. You've got so much power that you're able to do with this, with AI data insights, and also ways you can just chat to your data in a very simple way, because some organizations have huge amounts of data, but they can't actually ask simple questions like, what's the trend in this store over this time for this product or something? Because you have to ask their business intelligence team. By the time that happens, a week later, they get their answer and it's not quite what they wanted. And then the friction is there too much, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, so two things on that. So one is, we haven't put this picture in the white paper, but Aalok has in his presentation, we use the kind of the night vision.
Yeah.
So you've got a dark environment, you can't see anything, or you see a few specks of light here and there, and everyone's trying to use those specks of light to respond to create better customer experience or better products or services. But suddenly now you can delve into and dig deep into that data and even understand the unknown unknowns, things you didn't need to know that you now know. And that means you can respond to them. So it's like having night vision. You can suddenly see things that no one else can see. And when you respond to that, that creates competitive advantage, essentially. And the other thing I'd say, the second thing, is that what you can now do is use a huge amount, which is why we always say record everything, so you can use it. A huge amount of unstructured information, phone calls is a great example, even emails actually, but unstructured data can now be structured and used in innovative ways to extract information, to engage with customers or provide insights to improve your again, going back to our graph, your revenue and your cost base.
Exactly. So that's the data is another way where you can get ahead of the curve. And we give different checklists, which I'm just flicking through, and different ways that you can kind of think about doing things. So let's move to the next bit, AI agents. So again, most businesses and most business owners only think in terms of employee, or they don't really automate too many things. But with AI agents, there's more things you can actually do, which could be for, for business development, from outbound phone calls. It could even be based on email or social media. It could also be for inbound, emails or phone calls or different elements within there. But the point here is that you can access whole new workforce for a fraction of the cost. So we show some examples of like how they could actually do that within your business. And there's some huge opportunities that can be leveraged here because they're 24/7 multitasking and they can do things that humans can't do.
And also AI agents this is what we do really. So we provide fully managed AI agents. And the thing that we like to make sure people understand is that they're like humans in a way. So you have to onboard them, train them. You have a tone of voice. You've got policies and governance, the ways in which you want things done. You want to QA them just like humans and assess them over time and fine tune them, give them objectives and improve. So what we do is manage those agents for you in terms of doing all that work. So you might have an HR department and also like an outsourced partner that looks after your AI agents that augment your human workforce, and we manage all of that for you. This is why we provide fully managed agents. So it's not quite a SaaS. The days of downloading and installing an AI agent to go and run your accounts department doesn't exist. Probably somewhere from it, but these are like a managed service. They're like we take the engine, drop it into the business, we plug it in. There's always a question about the data. How does it access the data? Where's the output going? Who they're going to support? Do you need a team of agents with different skill sets, different focus? But again, as Aalok said, They're highly productive. They don't need breaks. They don't need holidays. You can do things out of hours that you couldn't afford to do before.
Exactly.
And this is the future really of the workforce. It will be human labor and artificial intelligence based labor as well.
Exactly, and like you said, Piers, like many people would be reachable by phone calls on the evenings or weekends, but your team don't work evenings or weekends, so they can't do it. But the AI can do all those different things, and we don't go into it in detail in this paper. It'll be a future white paper, but there's like what we call interactive agents or embedded agents. And interactive agents are generally customer facing or employee facing, and you literally talk to them and you can interact with them. And the embedded agents are the ones that can just process data and do things, do tasks in an ongoing manner. So the point is, you have to, as a business owner or business leader, be thinking about how to implement this within your business, because the news that we read at the beginning shows examples of companies that are literally kind of doing this right now, basically. So moving into transforming your organization, you really need to be thinking how you can do this and how you can actually like leverage the power within there. So, you know, you want to build your own kind of team within there where you can have like a kind of a working group and you can kind of progress from there going further onwards. So really,
And don't forget, when you benefit from this technology, okay, this falls straight through to the bottom line in many ways, especially obviously, you know, your cost base and revenue, you're chasing that all the time. But often in larger organizations where, you know, they have millions of transactions and we can just, you know, shift it slightly in terms of the cost or extracting opportunities from that unstructured data they have, that just falls through the bottom line. So we've got companies that have, you know, hundreds of millions of revenue that are clients, and we just move the dial slightly and it's generating literally millions of pounds of new EBITDA.
Yeah, there's some really exciting opportunities that can be done there. So I hope you found this kind of useful going through, you know, the elements within there. There's a lot of detail we couldn't kind of cover today, but, you know, do go into detail within there, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so we're going to probably do a whole session on this, aren't we, Aalok?
Yes, exactly.
So we'll probably do like a workshop where we'll go through the white paper and go through it in more detail. So that's it really for this week. We're about half an hour in. We know you're all busy. So we've covered AI news for business. We've gone through the theme. That's our new white paper. If you want to find that, go to our resource center. I'll put it up here on the screen. But again, go to implementai.io and click on resource center and you'll see it there. That's it for now. We'll be the same place, same time next week. Thanks for now.
Thanks for that.